and in some states, complete peace and tranquility. In the case of Bayelsa, we saw that clip before we went on break. The governor had engaged with the youths and directed that the palliatives sent and some of the seeds and all that shouldn't go to government officials at all, but should be sent to the hinterland for the people to see them. No government official should benefit from that. We saw that, and in some cases we even saw the youth come out in solidarity and all that. You don't need to do too much for the Nigerian. They actually appreciate. But getting these things to percolate, especially the good intentions of government, to percolate and get to the right people. You are saying people are hijacking protests. Some may also be hijacking government's good intentions to get to the people directly. Speak to this.
Well, since President Tinubu came into office, he has done a lot of interventions to ease the pain and burden of the current economic challenges on the people. And by so doing, a lot of food items, agricultural input have been sent to states. So the appeal will be that to governors, local government chairmen, and state officials, because as it is, as a federation, there is no way, there is no other means by which federal government can get to the people in the grassroots except working with the states and local government. So some of these things that go to these states, we always appeal to the governors and their officials to make sure that that effective distribution of this item.
Okay, let's just go to a state now. Shola Waheed, I understand that your signals are better now. You have moved further. Shola, tell us what is happening in Ilorin at the moment and compare it to what happened yesterday.
Well, this is Ilorin Metropolitan Square, where the scheduled protest was supposed to take place. Now, nothing is happening here. Everywhere is calm and peaceful. People are going about their normal businesses in town. As at yesterday, only few people came, around 10 people or so, where people were afraid of the unknown. They didn't come out on time. Shops were closed, government establishments were locked. Everywhere was locked under lock and key until around 2 p.m. when people saw that nothing was coming out, and they came out going about their normal businesses. So Ilorin here, as we are, nothing bad is happening. Everyone is going about his or her normal businesses.
For police presence, because I can see a van not too far from you behind there, do we still have the presence of security agents around town, or has everything, just generally died down? We don't have too much activities in terms of, the presence of law enforcement agents.
Yes, even as we speak, as I stand, there are still some law enforcement agents around. Yesterday, there were many in town, but today only a handful of the security agents are around, as the town seems to be very quiet. No one is fomenting any trouble. People are going about their normal businesses. Everywhere is calm and peaceful.
All right, in terms of some of the... in the studio here, we're just discussing in terms of, some of the intentions of government, some of the palliatives and relief materials sent to states. In terms of, the interactions in your state, did those things get to the people, and what were the reactions, leading up to this, protest?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I do not know about any palliative being distributed for now. But during the week, the state government, Malam Abdurrahman Abrazak, had meetings with the traditional chiefs, security agents, the youths, the artisans on this intending protest. And everybody seemed to have listened to him, as nobody cares, nobody wants to protest. Things are very calm here in Ilorin.
Thank you, Shola Waheed from Ilorin. We'll be back to you maybe in the course of the day and during some of our news outings as well, to make sure that, you guys are safe out there as well. I will go to other centers also across the country, especially in parts of the north, where we had some civil disturbances in the course of the protest yesterday, and see how things are shaping for today. Of course, curfew has been placed, have been placed in some states, Kano, Borno, being one of them, Jigawa as well, which also brought to you the broadcast of the state governor there restricting activities in the state as well. So that is the state of play at the moment. Going forward, don't protest. They have come out to protest yesterday. Today and perhaps for the next 8 days, we will still be on alert and all that. But in terms of engagement, that now comes back to your table. What are you going to be doing in the coming days to make sure that perhaps what was not understood better percolates?
We will continue to ramp up citizens' engagement, especially at the community level, so that people know exactly what government is doing and how they can key into the policies, programs, and initiatives of government to draw benefit for themselves, you know. And those policies and initiatives are many. I like what I just saw on the television now, the spotlight on the rice palliative that has gone to some of these states. I saw in Bayelsa State, and the transparency, you know, that the Bayelsa State governor is showing, and how he's demonstrating that this thing must get to the most vulnerable amongst our populations, and is warning political stakeholders and government appointees to stay clear of this, you know. So that is the way to go, and it serves as an example to all other states to key into. And if those states, across the 36 states of the Federation, are keying into this, then the immediate intervention the government is doing with regards to this rice palliatives will bring some succor, you know, to the vulnerable amongst us, the most vulnerable. And then they would see that, yes, this government cares and is responding in the immediate, the medium, and the long term to bring about mitigation of some of the challenges that people are complaining about at the moment.
All right, talking about mitigations, Mr. Tokwaijai, there should be some robust engagement in the coming days. You know what has happened in the past few weeks in terms of these issues of refinery, the private, and even government, you know, our assets and the timelines into when they become fully functional, which will cushion all these things, especially in terms of, you know, our reliance on, you know, imported fuel and all that. We need to perhaps ramp up the conversation and perhaps clear on some of the timelines.
Well, regarding the refineries, both the government-owned NPC has given assurance that by the end of, they actually test running from what I know, by the end of August, the product will start coming out of Port Harcourt refinery, and Kaduna and Warri, they're saying by December. And for the Dangote refinery, which is a private concern, of course, I think already diesel and other products are already coming out. And Dangote says by end of August too, they hit the market with...
And the presidential directive also in terms of selling to him in Naira.
So it will also, those are part of fiscal measures that the president is leading to make sure that some of these economic issues are addressed. And to expand the conversation, Nigerians need to know that President Tinubu is working for them. He cares about the country. He cares about every single citizen of Nigeria. His job, his commitment every day that he gets to his duty post is thinking and working on how to solve all our problems. And the president doesn't believe in cosmetic solution, or he wants a wholesale solution that will drive Nigeria to the future of prosperity that we desire. Some of the decisions he has taken since he became president, they are tough decisions. They are not easy. He could have done like any other previous leader who is like kicking the can down the road is very easy because you want to make everybody happy. But leadership, they said a statesman think of the future. Politician think of today. If President Tinubu is behaving like a politician, he will probably not take the decision he has taken. He will continue to gloss over them and begin to do patch here and there to make everybody happy. But the country will be heading towards a precipice. So as a statesman, you have to look at the future of the country. Where will Nigeria be in the next 5, 10, 20 years? So he has to take a decision that will make the country to be viable on a continuous and constant basis to the foreseeable future. See, and he believes that you cannot have an economy that is built on quicksand. We are running an economy where you had almost 5 exchange rates. How do you want to bring investment? How do you want to encourage investors? You were running an economy that for 3 or 4 years, businesses, especially foreign businesses, airlines, could not repatriate their money back to their country. So, if you are not getting that, if you are not getting investment into your country, how do you create jobs? If you are not investing in critical infrastructure, how do you grow national productivity? Now, let's look at the numbers. Before this president came, Nigeria, we were spending 97% of our revenue on debt servicing. What that means is, to every 100 naira that the Nigerian government is making, you are spending 97 naira to service debt. So what are you going to do with the remaining 3 naira? So as of today, within 1 year, the president is dealing with the foundational issues that are clogging our progress. Within 1 year, he has recalibrated the finances of the country. As of today, our debt service to revenue ratio has declined to 67%. So what that means is we now have more fiscal space to free money to fund development.
Yes.
Some will say, the economists will say, it still needs to decline much further for
Yes.
us to be able to do much.
Yes, but at least I'm saying, if
We
you
are
are
going
done
somewhere.
that,
Yeah.
we are making progress.
We are making progress.
Government revenue, because if government doesn't have money, how does it fund development? Government revenue with President Tinubu in 1 year has increased by 40%.
And this is evident.
These are the issues. That is why he is able to continue with all the inherited infrastructural projects across different sectors. And he's also embarking on major transformational projects. See, there are 2 projects that the president initiated that will transform and change the economic fortune of this country in the next 5-10 years in terms of output. The Lagos-Badagry to Chokoto highway, Lagos-Calabar, will connect 16 states.
On one highway.
Yes. No, the Lagos-Calabar will connect 9 states. Badagry to Chokoto will connect like 8 or...
yes, I'm saying it's
Yes.
one highway this way, one highway. Like,
Yeah.
almost like an L.
So, there is national integration. It's going to promote trade, promote commerce. It's huge.
Some will say, predicated on all this, you know, even what we are seeing, we've seen threats of insecurity, even in 1 day of protest.
Yeah.
Just 1 day of protest. But I understand that Paul Mukagu has been waiting for us in Akure, the Ondo State capital. You guys are, getting in for governorship election there, but there's also protest to monitor. Paul, what's happening in Akure?
Yes. Okay, Akure is peaceful. Akure is calm. Unlike yesterday when the
Paul, you might want to, tweak a little bit, talking about your device there, and then let's get you from Akure, Ondo State capital, and of course we'll still get to other places, especially Benin. Also, they have an obstacle election shortly, and so people have been gathering for one reason or the other.
movement throughout the town. We also have presence of security agencies in different parts of the capital metropolis.
I don't know exactly where you are in Akure, but it looks as if it's perhaps Obadeshida Road there. You said you were alluding to what happened yesterday, but in terms of what is happening today, can you say substantially that all those businesses that out of trepidation they were shut yesterday have now opened for business?
Okay, where we are exactly is around the NEPA area, close to Arakele Road in Akure.
Okay.
The businesses that were not operating yesterday are operating today because I think there was this fear factor, the fear of the unknown, that may have informed them not opening. I see it as a precautionary measure. But for today, having observed what happened yesterday, they are all open for business. And people are going about their normal activities around the town.
Very much, Paul Mukagu. We will also perhaps also get back to Akure later on. Thank you very much for your contribution today. Let's come back to the studio. I still have SSA to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Tokwe Ajayi, and Director from the NOA has been here, is a partner in progress in all these matters. And yes, and yes, I when he got in, I said that you are not protesting, but you are sweating.
Yeah.
So I understand we have a guest on Zoom very shortly. We would also bring you on to the discussion. But let me, quickly come to, Mr. Tokwe Ajayi. We were talking about, areas of intervention in the economy, and we have talked about, what, government is doing, especially now that, governance at the grassroots level, they will begin to feel the impact now that local government autonomy, financial autonomy is there. But there is also an aspect, getting the right people manning these positions is very, very vital. Right now, according to the judgment of the Supreme Court, any caretaker arrangement cannot even access the money. So that should, of course, the state governments are speeding up the process. But between now and then, what should people be doing? Of course, we have said there's a gestation period for some of these things. But in terms of activating domestic competence in different key sectors of the economy, it must start from the grassroots. People must become, conscientized in some of these things. What should we be doing as a government? What should we be doing in terms of civic engagements, thinking productively, as against, this issue of push and pull between government and citizens when it looks as if things are a little bit uncomfortable?
I think on the side of government, again, working with NOA and the Federal Ministry of Information, is we are encouraging Nigerians, professionals, accomplished people, retired civil servants, people of integrity, to go to the local government and actively participate in local governance. Literally, it's like local government administration has appeared to have been seeded as a job for the boys. So the quality of governance in local government, not all, in many local governments, is very low because of the quality of the administrators there. And why is this so? Oftentimes, governors use local government as a
compensation plan,
as compensation plan or as patronage, and
that's political leaders.
Yes, that's political leaders. So imagine if you have a retired permanent secretary, or a retired director, or a retired banker, or even well-educated people who are doing well in their private sector job, going to go and contest to be local government chairman. I think that is what we should be pushing. The governance index at that level will increase. And let me give you an example. In Lagos State, at least that's where I lived before I came to Abuja last year, you see some of the local government chairmen in Lagos, at least I will say almost, if not all of them, 80% of them are people that have strong public sector or private sector background. You see the quality of what they are doing, either in healthcare. It's only in Lagos State I know local government are turning kilometers of roads where they are building hospitals that will compare as a general hospital in some states.
Fact.
That is a fact. So once we begin to get quality people to run our local government.
Let me get a quality man to join us on this discussion. And that's Dr. Rauf Sakari Yao, Senior Lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Uganda. You are in Kampala. Dr. Sakari Yao, we can't get your audio. Can you enable your audio? Unmute yourself so that we can speak with you. Yes. All right. While we are waiting to, get Dr. Zakaria all the way from University of Uganda, also interested in what is happening here, Nigeria, everywhere you are, we'll come back to you very shortly. But you were trying to make a point about quality leadership. That is not really an issue for the Nigerian citizens. In political parties, we have to, hold them accountable for this. This is the way the leadership recruitment process is. Sometimes you see a lot of people, with, good credentials. But some of the times, the political parties don't give us an option.
That is also part of that is also an issue. Oftentimes, our people also don't join the process. You don't want to be part of the process. If we all move to the political parties, even by definition, political parties are also one of the agencies of socialization. Abi? So if we all move to the political parties in numbers, we can change the selection process and recruitment criteria. It is because we are there in schools. That is where one leader will decide everything and nobody will challenge him. If all of us, educated people, university graduates, lecturers, during the action in the First Republic and Second Republic, do you know the quality of men and women that are members of Action Unity Party of Nigeria, or NPC, or UPN, or MPN? The main thinkers, Chief Awolowo's think tanks are Professors Aboyades, Professors Alukos, in Ife from University of Ibadan, from University of Lagos. Then you see people from most of the eggheads in University of ABU, Zaria, working for NPC, working for Ahmadu Bello. So then you see people from University of Nigeria working for Nnamdi Azikiwe or Michael Okpara. That was why you see the level of thinking that went to governance and development in First and Second Republic. So we didn't leave political parties for riffraffs. So we have to move to these parties in our numbers. Then we'll be able to change and influence
from the inside.
From the inside.
And some will say food was also readily available, so no stomach infrastructure. But let's welcome Dr. Rauf Sakari Yao, Senior Lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Uganda. You are smiling. How is Uganda? Of course, is the two of the process here. We're not saying much, but what would be your intervention in terms of engagement between government and the citizens in terms of the direction of state?
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I'm speaking from Mbale, which is like 200 kilometers to Kampala. And as you have said, I'm presently in Uganda, seconded to one of the universities here. So from the issue presently going on regarding the protests, and we have seen how such protests has been abused. Because we should know one thing, that in a democratization process, protest is also an element towards which government can actually get message from the populace. However, like Nigerian style, from what we experienced yesterday, protests that could have been orderly organized, or that could have been as a way of passing information to the government on some of the issues raised by the teeming population, it became an avenue for hoodlums, for some riffraff to hijack the situation. And that was why, most from your report, you mentioned like 3 or 4 states that have actually declared coffee. on the basis of the fact that the protest was not well coordinated and it led to a lot of looting and damages. Now, the point here is this. Ideally, the protest wouldn't have been so necessary if there is what we call a kind of communication link. Because in political communication, there must be constant link between the government and the governed. But when there is a gap, that is why some people capitalize on that, try to explore the gap, and try to look at how they can get their own selfish interest. And that is the point we have presently. Of course, like what Mr. Tokwe was trying to say, the president has trying to come up with so many policies in order to ensure that the political economy of the country is well improved. However, when you look at in terms of communication, because in needle effect theory, in political communication is supposed to get down to the needy, meaning that people at the grassroots level, how many of them understand some of the statistics being given by Mr. Tokwe earlier on? How many of them understand that despite the removal of subsidy and allowing the dollars to float, what could be their own benefit? Because democracy is a bit contested. What is democratic to America might not be democratic in Nigeria. So we need to domesticate democracy by ensuring that people are well carried along, by ensuring that the language they understand are spoken, by ensuring that what people will benefit at that point in time are given to them. Because democracy that cannot provide adequate food, democracy that cannot provide security, definitely average Nigeria will feel that what is the essence of this democracy? So to say, it is a very good way of trying to pass message to the government, I mean protest, but its abuse has become the nagging affair in Nigeria. That was why before even the protest came on board, series of propaganda, series of issues there and there, to the extent that some political stakeholders believe is an opportunity for them to also gain some political score points. So what I'm trying to say here is the best solution is the fact that there must be a connection, a networking between the government and the governed. When government is carrying out a policy, how does that policy go down well with the citizens? That's number one. Number two, what is the effective communication in terms of making the citizen to realize that this is done for the interest of the country? Because average citizen might think, oh, the subsidy has been removed. Now, a lot of things, inflation is there. The record is there that inflation has gone high. What they could afford in the last 2 years, such could not be afforded now. Then what is the way forward? But because there is no communication link, to me, there is a kind of gap between the government and the citizen in terms of adequate communication. Otherwise, some of the beauty projects that the government might be trying to come on board, if they are not well communicated to the people that actually need it, that will form a problem. And that is what we are seeing now. When you look at Kanu, when I was watching some of the review, I was like, most of those guys on the street, they don't even understand what the protest is all about. But they felt that they have not been able to get certain things. They felt that their level of maybe hunger has increased as far as they are concerned. And they are also feeling the impact of some of those policies, either negatively to their own understanding. Then they felt, okay, the best thing is to go to the street. Going to the street, they were unable to make their demands to reach the government because they also abuse the process that could have been a very good one in passing message to the government. So what we are saying in essence here is that there should be an effective way of trying to negotiate. There must be a negotiation between the government and the governed. And by way of negotiation, there must be dialogue. There is no way government can be governing without ensuring that the people are carried along. There is no way that government fails to communicate effectively for people to understand the beauty of some of those policies, then there will be a problem. But for now, some of those palliative, to me, they might be solutions for time being. But at the long run, like what Mr. Tokwe has said, some of those policies can be effective at the long run. But for now, an hungry man is an angry man. How do you pacify him? These are some of the issues we are expecting the president to actually come proactive on this, and let's see how certain things can be done to relieve the people. But unfortunately, we have forgotten the fact that when we talk of federalism, like the Federal Republic of Nigeria, federalism, as rightly observed by Casey, where, in the school of federalism, it is a government whereby powers are shared between the central and the component units. And when we talk about the central, we all know the national government component unit contains the state government, under which the local government also fall. But look at the issue of local government autonomy. Some were of the view that, oh, this is a very good move. The president has done well, particularly ensuring that there will be what we call financial autonomy. But the question is, even if they have the financial autonomy, what about the political autonomy? Political autonomy in the sense that we have seen that the State Electoral Commission that conducts local government elections, that is being used by the state government to decide who they actually keep in certain offices as far as local government administration is concerned. So giving financial autonomy, that does not mean that we have gotten it right perfectly. Of course, it's a good move. What about the political autonomy? But the fact remains that if we are to borrow what federalism is all about, federalism only recognizes 2 tiers of government. But in our own case, we are laying claim to 3 tiers, which is not bad because we are trying to domesticate our own federalism to suit our peculiarity. But that domestication, the impact needs to be felt. But when you want people of high caliber, like what Mr. Tope was saying, to participate at government at local level, and they are not given such environment to strive, they are not being allowed to even raise their voice, they don't even listen to them, it becomes so difficult. And that is why when you see most people participating at local politics, they remain people that are very, very rugged at local level. If you are coming on board, you want to tell them this is how it should be done, they will say, okay, that is grammar, you are speaking English. What we want here is you give us money, then you get our vote. So there are a lot of issues, but to me, as far as NIDU political communication effect theory is concerned, I think there is a gap. Once there is an effective communication, no doubt the government can also get to know what the people want, and people can also understand the government properly.
Dr. Zakaria, thank you very much for your intervention at this time. Hopefully, you still have your voter's card with you out there in Uganda, and perhaps you might be one of these local government chairmen that we need to bring the right governance to bear in Nigeria. Don't stay too long in Uganda. Because just gather what you can gather in Uganda and return to Nigeria. Let's get our correspondent Ajingi is in Kaduna. Ajingi, can you give us an update of what is happening in your corner there? Please give us an update of what is happening in Kaduna, Umar. All right, perhaps it's not here in the studio at the moment. It's as if, myself and Dr. Zakaria were browsing from the same, book. Yes, so because I've said this time and time again that, a big part of, what can be done in changing some of these narratives would have to come from the grassroots. So Ajingi, I understand Umar Ajingi is fully back now. Umar, please give us an update before we continue with the discussion.
Well, Fisayo, I'm right now at the Castelia office. Castelia is a Kaduna State Traffic Law Enforcement Agency authority, an agency that is responsible in ensuring that the motorists obey the traffic rules and regulations in Kaduna State, where the protesters yesterday, or the hoodlums that have hijacked this peaceful protest yesterday, take advantage of vandalizing the government facility here. Fisayo, you can see behind me, that is a mosque here. They have gone to the extent of removing the windows, the doors, and every other valuables inside the mosque. And this is the office of the Castelia. You can see the door is broken down. They went to the extent of going with some of the windows and the property inside this office, all in the name of protest. These are some of the issues you can see. To buttress my point earlier in the morning, that I was saying most of these children are very small children who do not know even what governance is all about, like one of your guests is saying. These are very, very small children who just took the advantage, and some people took the advantage of them. They didn't understand what it is or what government is to give them so little amount of money to vandalize government property. The cameraman will follow me, you come in with me so that I will show you some of these facilities that were vandalized by these hoodlums. This is the main Castelia office. This is the door. You can see how the door was scattered. It was broken. Some of them came through in from this window to go around with some of the properties. Anyway, there was no any loss of life here because most of the officials of the Castelia were not on duty, and some have run away for safety. This is what stakeholders have been saying earlier before now in Kaduna State, that avoid this protest. This protest is not for good because some people will try to hijack it or use the opportunity to create mayhem or to cause violence, which is not good for anyone in this country. Look, you can see the window there. It was shattered, and that is the other window from behind also that was shattered. These are some of their documents here on ground that were burnt and shattered. This is the unfortunate incident that happened here. It's not only the Castelia office, Usayo. The Kaduna State Investment Promotion Agency, Kadipa, was also touched. I will go to that place also to show you live some of these things that were vandalized in that office. The feelers I'm getting here is that some movement has started around Kaduna Metropolis. It indicates that people are out for their normal business activities. There's no protest today in Kaduna. It has been calm all the way. Anyway, security agencies are on ground. We've seen the police on our way coming to this place. The security agents, including the civil defense, they are all at their duty posts, ensuring that there is no further breakdown of law and order here in Kaduna State. And from the feelers I'm getting, there is now a very big movement in Kaduna. It is now fully calm and peaceful, and people are going about their normal business activities. I'll go to some of these busy locations in Kaduna to bring you an update of situation of things here in Kaduna.
Thank you very much, Umar Ajingi, for that update. I would like you to perhaps leave that office area right now, perhaps so that you can go to other parts of the state. I don't want those guys to come back to check, pick their shoes and see you still there doing this reporting. Let's, continue with, some of our discussions there and look at, so, the way it is, these situations become fluid. Some get confidence from the fact that they are coming in huge numbers. Once the numbers dissipate, sometimes, everything fizzles out. Coming back to the discussion and some of the issues raised by Dr. Zakaria from Uganda, I think we need to take some of these things seriously now. Those days when we were in school, we saw people vying for student union positions with displaying a lot of capacity at that level. But somehow they don't feel connected when they come out of the universities to continue to pursue the processes and all that. You have said we should flood those political parties. Yes. But the situation in the country is that even those political parties, they seem a little bit defective in terms of ideology. Do you just flood them in terms of population when there's no clearly marked ideology? You don't know what they believe in, and even some of the times you see the candidates jump from one political party to the other. So the issues of democracy, which will look at ventilating different concepts of leadership, that does not really hold sway in our politics, because it seems as if they still just remain vehicles, to get to the podium.
I don't agree with you on
totally
on the especially in the area of ideology. See, there is the line between around the ideology has really thinned out. There is no ideological purity.
It's shrinking
anywhere in the world. So most parties, they now do a little to the right, a little to the left. And it's also not totally correct to say that the parties do not have ideologies. They do. We know what PDP stands for. We know what APC stands for. We know what Labour Party stands for. So to say that they don't have ideology,
that's what they say they stand for, because the members of the parties are fluid. In fact, sometimes they even exchange candidates across.
I agree with you that the nature of our politics and the evolution allows for people to see political party just as a vehicle to winning an election. But how do we make political parties perform their role in the democracy or in the political process? It is by having, again, the right people who can begin to nurture these parties, who can begin to direct these parties to their own creed. And once you don't have, okay, you are if people who are mainly members of a political party, if they are just market women, miscreants, if they form the base.
Market women are very good people.
No, I'm just saying people who are not so educated. People are not so educated. If they form the major base of a political party, what do they really know about what they are even part? They are just there to say, okay, we want to win an election after 4 years. Everybody goes away. So we still need our people, educated people, professionals, to go into these parties. That is when we can get control.
National Retention Agency, education is key now. We are seeing that even understanding government information has become a little bit difficult in the sense because of the gap. You know, how do we begin to capture this, you know, population that it seems as if, you know, getting this information to them is becoming a little bit cumbersome because some are chanting things that don't even have anything to do with, you know, what we are talking about. Core issues. I even said that, I mean, I told you earlier that I saw someone holding a placard that was refused visa at a certain embassy and is part of the protest. There's a lady who, you know, was looking for a husband. It's almost 40, it's part of the protest. There's a naked man, ululation, you know, dancing on the street. And still part of the protest. I don't know whether somebody was supposed to give him clothes during the procession. And we had, you know, several of these. Even a few guys were complaining about landlords and all that. And all that. So what can we do in terms of, you know, getting our citizens, you know, more connected, you know, into the Nigerian project as a whole? And when Dr. Zakaria, maybe we'll bring this on board as well as we go ahead, we will, before we round up this session, Dr. Zakaria was talking about issues of, you know, communication and the lines. I remember when we were growing up and we had DFRI, MAMSA, Better Life for Rural Women. Even in spite of the fact that we didn't have social media, even their songs alone, you know, motivated the youth to, you just sing along, you understood what was happening. And all. After all, I'm not a woman, but I could sing the Better Life for Rural Women songs. I knew what MAMSA was about. Even in the questions asked from common entrance and all, they will ask you what's the full meaning of DFRI, what's the full meaning of MAMSA. How do we get back to, you know, a coordinated thing that, you know, percolates to the people and then, you know, captures the imagination of the citizenry?
Well, you see, Fisayo, I would want to make some inputs into the point that Tope made concerning leadership quality. But let me answer your question first before I come back to that. As a country, we need to invest far more on communication. You understand? And we are on the back foot as far as that is concerned. You know? So when this administration came into place, we were very, very hopeful that there would be reasonable investment to empower government communication. Communication is not cheap. You understand? And communication is not spasmodic. It needs to be consistent and to be on several platforms to gain public traction and attention. This is extremely important, you know. So going forward, one of the lessons to draw, even from the contributions you are hearing across the states, is government at federal, state, and local government must invest deliberately in energizing communication, government communication. There are several things, policies and programs that are being rolled out, like I have been outlining in the course of this program. But to say them on this platform and today alone is not enough. You understand?
In spite of the fact that NTA is in every corner in this country.
Absolutely, it's not enough, you know. And like I told you earlier on, there are several television platforms. Some are even online across the country, and radio platforms too. you know. So our communication needs to be on all of these platforms.
I'm just saying that we have these communication stations in case no communication is not cheap and you want to patronize us.
I understand where you're going, Fisayo. And you know we have always been partners in progress, NOA and NTA. You have stood by us even when we had nothing, you know, to give, to ensure that our messagings gain platform and traction. So the point I'm making is this. There has to be deliberate decision on the part of governments, federal, state, and local, to invest in communication, knowing that communication costs money. The attitude at the moment is invest in infrastructure. Even the security deployment and presence that you're seeing now, there's a soft side to it, and that's where NOA comes in, when you begin to talk about non-kinetic response and approaches. But that process, for it to be sustained, to make impact as is required, it needs to be correctly funded and prioritized. That is what happened when you saw with MAMSA. MAMSA was domiciled in the presidency, you know, and it was adequately funded in terms of, and resourced, in terms of quality of personnel, in terms of equipment required to make impactful communication with the people. So at the level of communication, I'm not surprised that all of these concerns are being expressed by members of the public. And it's a call to action on the part of government, federal, state, and local, to prioritize citizens' engagement via communication. There is no dearth of quality of personnel. You see Tokbe here, you see us, you see the leadership at the National Orientation Agency, you see the Minister of Information and National Orientation, you see all of the persons and the quality of persons around even presidential communication and all of that. You know, so what now needs to be done is to deliberately and intentionally say, okay, government from now onwards will consistently communicate with the citizens, and that process requires funding. That's on the one side.
Leadership.
Yes.
But before we go there, a reporter has been standing by, Lukman Hassan from Ibadan, for an update. That is one of the largest cities in Nigeria, and of course used to be a center for the Southwest. Lukman, what is happening in Ibadan? Where are you exactly in Ibadan?
Currently, I am at Gate and OJ Road. Business activities is currently going on smoothly. People are moving around without any hindrances. And most of the business activities around Ibadan is going on smoothly. There is no much traffic, and people are happy to come out and exercise their freedom to move around and do their business transactions.
In terms of what happened yesterday, was there any...
And also security men have been
Yeah, in terms of what happened yesterday, was the crowd much? And then, you know, as compared to today, did you have enough, a number of groups, you know, congregating around the state, or at least around the metropolis, and compare and contrast that to what we have today?
Even though yesterday there were just pockets of people that came out to protest, most of the people did not join the protest here in Ibadan yesterday. Though some people prefer to stay indoors, but others came out to do their own transactions and businesses. And traffic was also free yesterday. Unlike today, many people still came out today because they were reassured by security agencies that there will be no crisis. So they came out today to do their businesses. So they were moving around and doing their own businesses. Today, the people that even came out are even lower than those that came out yesterday.
All right, thank you very much. Lukman Sani, we'll come back to you. I understand that you said you're around OJ axis. Of course, that road also leads to Bere axis as well. Perhaps maybe you also pick another location in the course of this broadcast. Perhaps we'll go to Bodija Ojuri axis as well, so that we see that going towards UI, Songo, and the rest, where we have a number of government installations as well. So we will come back to you, Lukman Sani. Thank you very much for your contribution. Let me come back to your intervention, and you were talking about leadership.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to lay additional emphasis on what Tokpe said about improving on the quality of leadership, especially at the grassroots level, at the local government. There's no gainsaying the fact that worldview, understanding of economic dynamics, understanding of budgeting process, understanding of project monitoring and conceptualization, understanding of the process of visioning and the pursuit of the attainment of specific goals that will have community impact, all of this requires some level of education. It requires some level of experience, and hands-on. Now, what we have today is that people are being compensated, for the roles that they play. Even thugs are becoming local government chairmen in many of the states across the country. This step that the Supreme Court, courtesy of the activities of the present government, have taken. Remember, it's not today we started trying to get autonomy for local government. There have been several initiatives in constitutional amendment process. When it goes down to the states, the governors manage to scuttle it at that level and ensure that state assemblies do not vote in favor of that. So this is unique, and it's a starting point, it's a starting block. The other processes that must unfold quickly to complement this has responsibility in the domain of the National Assembly to ensure that the process of electing leaders at the local government is also freed of the influence, negative mostly, of state governors, so that the space now becomes even, and then people can come out, and then we stop hearing this thing about local government elections being held and all seats of chairmen, all seats of councillors are won by a particular party in government at the particular point, in time. We need an injection, like Tope said.
Sometimes you even see 100% attendance during the nobody was sick.
These are very serious.
Nobody was sick. Nobody died between registration and the day of voting.
We may be laughing, but these are very serious matters, and I'm very happy that Tope highlighted them. And we should continue. It's not going to happen by happenstance. There needs to be continuous advocacy. There need to be tweaking at various levels. There need to be concern showed by stakeholders to say that, look, as far as government at this level is concerned, we must have quality people who care about their reputation. If you have a man as local government chairman who doesn't give a damn about his reputation because he has none in the first instance, what quality of service delivery would you expect from such a person? But if you have a retired director, a professor, a principal and all of that, who know that they've built reputation over the years and are concerned about family name, are concerned about what legacies, they would leave upon exiting office, then you will begin to see improvement. And that process should start even now that the Supreme Court has delivered this judgment granting autonomy to local governments.
Let me look at some aspects, and that is, this local government issue, the rule of law has come into also, perhaps help Nigerians achieve their dreams and expectations in governance in some, aspects. But in terms of going after those who have taken advantage of the positions given to them by Nigerians via their thumbs, and having looted those, the treasury of those offices given to them, perhaps the citizens want to see faster processes to bring these people to book, especially when you queue or you go to the market and you see that these other people, this category of people smiling to the bank, their children's abroad, their children abroad, and all these things are happening. It raises the anger level, because comparatively, the Nigerian walking on the street who has not been part of anything, who just wants the best for the country, may be suffering. And then someone who has looted is even being recognized and canonized in some places. How do we, as a government, make sure that this system is sanitized and bad guys are really put in the peg of bad guys?
I think what you are saying is consequence management. I think we need to improve on that as a country. There should be punishment for bad behavior. And I think that was what led to creation of EFCC and ICPC to deal with public sector and even private sector corruption, but largely public sector corruption. And over the years, whatever anybody might say, I think the two institutions have done well in dealing and fighting corruption. And just in the last 1 year, especially since the new MSman at the EFCC came on board, they have investigated more than 15,000 cases. They have prosecuted 12,000 out of the 15,000, and they have won As at yesterday, from the record I got from EFCC, they have won like 5,000 cases in the last 1 year, and they have recovered more than both naira, dollar, pounds put together. They have recovered more than 300, 400 billion naira from from those who abuse their offices. In public office. So that is at the level of government. At the level of the society, I think we also have a role to play. Religious leaders, cultural leaders, traditional rulers, who are the people that we canonize in our society? Who are the people that get the front row in our churches or at social events? Are they the people that we can point to as examples to our children, or people you want them to be like? So I think our society needs to get to the point where we go back to our mores. In traditional African society, especially in Yoruba part of the world, we don't celebrate people who abuse public offices. We don't celebrate people who are known to be people of shady characters. We don't celebrate thieves. We don't give them chief title. But today, what do we see? It is those people that get that are turbaned as chiefs, or are crowned as Otumba, or one title in our communities. So we need to de-emphasize placing value on material acquisition. Yeah. So people begin. When I grew up in a community or in a house where if you take what your parents didn't give you. I remember when I was in secondary school, I brought a wristwatch home. It was a body and a day school. So my friend gave me a gold wristwatch. He was a boarding student that I should help him get it to a repairer. So I wore it. So I brought it home.
Right.
My parents was like, where did you see this? The first thing that landed on my face was slap. So, and I said, it belongs to my friend. He said, where did your friend, a student, in secondary school, where did he get this kind of wristwatch? Apparently, he stole his father's wristwatch. So that's the kind of society and families we grew up.
Absolutely.
So we need to return back to the basis.
Well, while we are retracing our steps, let me take this. Governor Obaseki of Edo State has called for peace, noting that government has put in place great arrangements to ensure the enhancement of Nigeria's economy. This was while he was speaking with some protesters at the King's Square in Benin City, the state capital. Our reporter, Goodluck Eniani, was there and filed this report.
Protesters converged at various assemblage points in the metropolis to drive home their demands. Governor Obaseki was at the popular Ring Road to meet with the youths who presented their 6-point demand to include the reduction of fuel prices by the federal government, provision of adequate security, fixing all federal roads in the state, stoppage of multiple taxes from the government and unions operating in Edo. Others are reduction of tuition fee in state government tertiary institutions and release of palliative rights to the public, as well as abrogate both the market and motor park touts, popularly known as agberos. A Nigerian popular comedian, Francis Aguda, popularly known as Agudai, spoke on behalf of the protesters. Governor Obaseki thanked them for maintaining peace and promised to address their demands as it concerns the state, while those for the federal government will be relayed to the president and commander-in-chief. The governor also addressed some protesters who were at the government house to register their demands. In Benin, Goodluck Eniani, NTA.
We also hear that the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON, has condemned violence in some parts of the country. The body is calling for calm in the interest of peace and prosperity of the nation. Aliu Tijan reports.
The Association of All Local Government Areas in Nigeria, ALGON, described the development as unfortunate and a setback to the development agenda of government that is committed to resetting the economy, while appealing to Nigerians to give the present administration at both federal, state and local government levels more time to implement their demands. Algon says the Tinubu administration is doing a lot to reduce cost of living in the country.
We are very much aware and understand the frustrations and grievances that have led to the call for protest, but I believe that dialogue and collaboration can yield more positive outcomes.
Citing recent Supreme Court judgment on financial autonomy for local government councils, distribution of palliatives and fertilizers, introduction of student loan, among other interventions initiated by the federal government, Algon National President advises Nigerians to see peace and unity of the country as paramount, responsible of all. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
Abdul Jalil is back and is somewhere in Benin Kebbi, correspondent there. He was on earlier. Abdul Jalil, where are you and what is the update from your state?
Well, first, right now I am at the Benin Kebbi Central Market. And as I updated you earlier that business activities are going on in Benin Kebbi, one may not even notice whether a protest happened yesterday or not, because everybody is conducting his business hitch-free. As you can see by my right, by my left, behind me, everywhere, everybody is normal, just like the way it used to be. Everybody is conducting his business.
Speak with them, and are they even aware of what was going on in other parts of the country as well?
Well, from from indication, as people are going on with their business, they are only mindful of what is happening here, and as if they are not aware whether the protest is happening. Since the governor made that broadcast yesterday, it's like the people that conducted the protest yesterday have a rethink. So, but because nobody is on the road conducting any protest, only motorists going on doing their own business, and you see the market is vibrant.
All right, thank you very much, Abdul Jalil. I saw a young man there waiting for you, whether you want to buy one of his wares, but I think you can conduct your own business too while you are there. At least you have used this opportunity to visit the market. Thank you so much, Abdul Jalil. We move on now very quickly. I think Dr. Zakaria is still there. Perhaps you give us, just recap what has happened this past 24 hours and moving forward what you will be expecting both from the side of the government and the citizenry as well as we proceed in this session.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I've said earlier, at this point, the basic requirement is for both the government and the governed, the citizen, to have a kind of dialogue, negotiation. There must be an interaction, and that is the only way whereby some of those issues raised can be resolved. And once the citizens get to know government efforts and the possibility of those efforts giving them good results at the long run, the citizens are not mad people. They should be able to have some level of understanding that presently, for the country to sustain its status quo, some policies needed to be taken. That's the fact. Nevertheless, the government should also, as a matter of fact, ensure that some urgent, policies are introduced that can actually reduce some of the tension within the society. If those can be done, at the long run, I think it's going to be a win-win situation. But for protests to continue, I think in Nigeria, we claim to be practicing democracy, but I can see that we have less Democrats among ourselves, both from the government and even on the part of the citizen, because democracy has its own tenet, it has its own values. By the time you try to abuse certain things, and two wrongs can never make a right. So on that note, there is need for everybody to come back to the drawing table, have a kind of interaction, negotiation, and in the point of negotiation, there should not be positional. Positional in the sense that one should not insist that Once this is not done, we are not going back. Likewise, from the end of the government. So there should be a way whereby there will be a meeting point, equilibrium. At that stage, both the government and citizens, they have understanding and keep move forward. And we hope possibly, like what we have been saying earlier on, that some of those policies will yield better results for the country because everybody is after the interests of Nigeria. Any other thing like that, then it is not for the interest of the populace. So I think my take is let the government and the governed have a kind of dialogue, understanding, negotiation. We can't be scared of negotiating. The negotiation must continue. But in the process of doing that, there are some urgent needs from government that must be done for people to actually realize that some of those tensions has actually come down and people can also live according to their own level of satisfaction to some extent. So I think that's my take.
This session, perhaps our next panelists will also want to hear your interventions. Mr. David Akoji, Director of Special Duties, State Operations, final word very quickly.
Very quickly, I urge Nigerians to be patient. Government is rolling out a plethora of policies, initiatives, and programs that will bring benefits. Let's allow this to come to fruition.
Mr. Tokwe Ajayi, SSA, to the President on Media and Publicity.
Well, I want to appeal to Nigerians and to show more understanding, to cooperate with the government. President Tinubu is working very hard, and he has heard Nigerian young people loud and clear. The pace of governance and service delivery will be increased, and Nigeria will begin to see the fruit of the policies that have been implemented.
Thank you very much. I start from Dr. Rauf Sakariao on Zoom. Thank you for being part of this session. Mr. David Akoji of the NOA, so much work to still do. Government is relying so much on you, especially all these your offices in different centers. And the special advisor on media and publicity. Publicity must be more and more intense. Nigerians want to hear from you. Good projects, but they want to know what it is exactly. What is in it for me? So that is that for this session. Government says, believe in the process, shelve this protest. And the protesters said the protest has been for progress, so together we march on together. My name is Fisayo Ogunfi. Thanking you for being a part of this telecast, this session. My colleague Ayodeji Makinde will be back on the other side of this commercial break. But keep it logged on the Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.